Officially underway with Newt Gingrich starting to explore his chances to grab the Republican nomination next year. Joining us with more on that and the rest of the day's political headlines is Kyle Trygstad, staff writer with Roll Call. Kyle, good morning. Thanks for being here. You co-authored an article that ran in Roll Call yesterday. The headline was Gingrich 2012 News Gets Mixed Hill Response. Can you talk about the details of your piece a little bit?
Sure. A colleague of mine at Roll Call, we went to the Capitol and thought we'd ask around where Newt Gingrich used to run the show when he was Speaker of the House in the mid-'90s. And we asked around, and a lot of people were sort of unsure whether he has a chance to actually win. A lot of people, like his ideas. He's been doing a lot in healthcare and education and debt reduction, things like that, since he's left Congress. But they're not sure he can actually win. So that's probably a concern for him. He does have some support down in Georgia, where he's from the Republican delegation there. But still, there's sort of an overall concern about whether, how viable he really is.
Name recognition, does it help him or hurt him?
Well, I think it definitely helps in a presidential race. When you start with a certain name identification, that's a head start, really, ahead of some other people who don't certainly have that.
Let's talk about who else might throw their hats in the proverbial ring. Of course, Sarah Palin is a name that comes to mind first and foremost. Have you seen any committees form or her committee form to sort of explore her chances?
Well, I think a lot of Republicans in Washington don't believe she'll actually run. But I think, she can be a force in the primary until she says she's not running. And I think the question will always remain until she actually comes out and says it. But right now, I think a lot of people aren't sure she's actually going to do it.
Right. We've heard some other names. Any other names that you've heard and it's not really even that early at this point.
No, it's not.
2011.
It's not. The first debate is coming up in early May, and so really we have about 2 months now for people to start getting in. When Newt Gingrich, he's down in Atlanta today. He's expected to announce that he's seriously considering a run for president, that he's exploring it. But we're also looking at Mitt Romney, the former Massachusetts governor who ran in 2008, Tim Pawlenty, former Minnesota governor, and then you have Haley Barbour, who's the governor of Mississippi, and Rick Santorum, former Pennsylvania senator. And right now, those are really the five main candidates, major candidates expected to run.
A lot has been made of the Tea Party and the movement. Do you expect that the Tea Party will put up a strong contender? And how powerful is this group still going into 2012?
I'm not sure they're going to put up their own presidential candidate, but it is a forceful movement, in politics right now, and it's really a very important group for Republicans to win, not only in the presidential race, but also in House and Senate races. Republicans are really going to be trying to win back the Senate next year. They came sort of close, last year, but they still have some work to do.
As far as the government shutdown goes, wildly switching gears here for just a second, do you expect that we'll be facing the same problems 2 weeks from now? We've gotten sort of a temporary reprieve with the furloughs and such.
Yeah, I think 2 weeks is not a very long time for the two parties to come together. The Senate is run by Democrats, the House by Republicans, and they're very far apart in terms of their budget, where they stand on how much they actually want to cut in terms of spending going forward.
Seeing a picture of the president and the vice president there, and the vice president has now been put in charge of leading the Democrats' charge on the budget now. He's someone who's very familiar with the goings-on in Congress. Do you think that'll make a difference as far as compromise goes and talks go?
I think so. I think Joe Biden can do that because of his experience there. Anytime the White House steps in, I think sometimes that can help things and move things along. So it makes the president's priorities very clear and brings everyone to the table.
Yeah. We'll see. Time will tell on that. Kyle Trygstad is a reporter with Roll Call. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, Steve, over to you.